What if the woman you are interested in is already pulling away, and you have not noticed yet? Not because you are not paying attention, but because the signs are not loud, they are not dramatic. There is no argument, there is no confrontation, there is no moment where she looks at you and says, I am losing interest. It happens quietly, subtly, in the small things, in the things that used to be there, and slowly, one by one, are not anymore. And by the time most men notice it, the emotional distance has already been building for weeks. Here is what nobody tells you about attraction. It does not die in an instant. It does not switch off. It fades, gradually, almost invisibly, like a fire that is still burning, but slowly running out of fuel. And if you do not know what to look for, if you do not know which specific behavior signals that the fuel is running low, you will miss it entirely until the fire is already out. Today, I am going to show you exactly what that signal looks like. The one specific behavior that women naturally do when attraction is strong, and the one specific moment its disappearance tells you everything you need to know. I am also going to tell you what most men do when they notice it, and why that response makes everything worse, and what you should do instead if you want to either reignite what is fading or preserve your dignity and move forward with clarity. Stay with me until the very end, because the last section of this video contains a reframe that will completely change how you think about attraction and about your own value in any relationship. Let's begin. My name is Lyra, and this is Mystique Psychology. If you are new here, welcome. This channel is built for men who want to understand the real psychology behind attraction, behavior, and masculine presence. Not surface level dating tips, not tricks. Real understanding that changes how you see yourself and how others experience you. If that is what you are looking for, subscribe right now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Every single week, I release content that goes this deep and deeper. You do not want to miss what is coming on this channel now. Let's talk about the sign most men completely miss. When a woman is genuinely attracted to you, she invests. And I do not mean that casually. I mean it in a very specific, observable, measurable way. She is not just investing time. She is not just investing replies. She is investing emotionally. She is putting a part of herself into the dynamic, her curiosity, her energy, her attention, and the most visible expression of that emotional investment is one simple behavior. She initiates. She texts you first. Not every time, but she does it. She sends you something she saw that reminded her of you. She asks how something went that you mentioned last week. She checks in when she has not heard from you. She finds small reasons, sometimes no reason at all, to open a conversation. Because being in contact with you feels good to her. It feels natural. It feels like something she wants, not something she is managing. When attraction is real and present, that kind of effort is effortless on her end. She is not thinking about whether she should reach out. She just does, because curiosity creates momentum. And when she is genuinely emotionally engaged, the pull towards you is something she follows instinctively. But here is what happens when that emotional engagement begins to cool. The initiation slows, then it stops. Suddenly, you are always the one texting first. You are always the one making plans. The conversations that used to feel like they had their own energy, like they were going somewhere, now feel like work, like you are dragging something forward that has stopped wanting to move. Her replies are still coming, but they are shorter, less animated, less her. The question she used to ask about your day, gone. The random message at 10 p.m. about something that made her think of you, gone. The energy that used to fill the space between you, gone. That is not her being busy. That is attraction fading. And the moment you learn to read that signal, the moment you stop explaining it away and start seeing it clearly, you gain something most men never have: accurate information about where you actually stand. To understand why this happens, you need to understand how attraction and behavior are connected at a psychological level. Attraction creates curiosity, and curiosity creates effort. When a woman is emotionally engaged with a man, his presence activates something in her nervous system. She thinks about him. She wonders what he is doing. She wants updates. She wants connection. She wants to know things about him, and she wants him to know things about her. That wanting, that pull, is what drives her to initiate, to reach out, to invest. It is not a decision she makes consciously. It is a feeling she follows. But when the emotional spark begins to lower, when the attraction cools even slightly, that pull weakens. The curiosity fades. His presence stops activating that response in her nervous system. And because the feeling is no longer driving her forward, the behavior stops too. Initiative disappears first, before she consciously decides anything, before she has even processed how she feels, before any conversation about the dynamic takes place. The behavior shifts quietly, subtly, almost invisibly, and it is the earliest warning signal that something has changed emotionally. This is why it is so important to watch what a woman does rather than what she says, because by the time the words change, the feelings have already been shifting for a while. Behavior tells the truth before language does. And the men who understand this, who can read the behavioral signal early, are the ones who have the best chance of either correcting course or stepping back before they invest further in something that is already fading. Here is where most men go wrong, and I want to be specific about this because it is one of the most common and most damaging patterns in male romantic behavior. When she stops initiating, when the energy cools, when the replies shorten, when the dynamic starts feeling one-sided, the instinctive response for most men is to compensate. They text more, they call more, they put in more effort, they plan more, they compliment more, they over-explain, they double text. When she does not reply, they fill every silence with more words, more attention, more investment, as if the answer to her fading emotional engagement is simply to pour more of themselves into the gap she is leaving. And it makes complete sense from the inside. You feel something slipping away. You want to hold on to it. Your instinct says, try harder, give more, show her you care. But here is what she feels from the outside. She feels pressure. She feels the weight of your anxiety behind every extra message. She feels the desperation beneath the effort. She feels the dynamic becoming even more one-sided, because now not only has her investment decreased, but yours has increased, and the imbalance becomes undeniable. And that imbalance, that visible, palpable gap between how much you want this and how much she currently does, is one of the most powerful attraction killers there is. Because attraction requires perceived value, and a man who is visibly more invested than the woman he is pursuing has, by the simple mechanics of desire, lower perceived value in that dynamic, not because he is less worthy as a person, but because scarcity creates desire, and his behavior is communicating the opposite of scarcity. He is saying, without words, I need this, I need you, I am less without your attention. And that message, when a woman receives it from a man whose interests she is already questioning, accelerates her withdrawal rather than reversing it. I want to pause here for a moment, because if this is already shifting how you see your current situation or how you have behaved in past relationships, this is exactly the kind of content Mystique psychology is built around. Most men lose attraction not because they are bad men or wrong for the person they want. They lose it because they do not understand these psychological dynamics. because nobody taught them, because the instinctive response, try harder, give more, is the opposite of what actually works. That is what we fix on this channel. Real psychology, real understanding, the kind that makes you a fundamentally different man in any relationship dynamic. Subscribe to Mystique Psychology right now. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. You are going to want to be here for everything that comes next. Let's keep going. There is a specific phase in the fading of attraction that I want to draw your attention to, because it is the phase where most men have the best opportunity to course correct, and the phase where most men completely miss what is happening. I call it the neutral phase. She has not left. She has not said anything. She is still there, still responding, still being polite and reasonable and outwardly fine. If you asked her how things were, she would probably say, fine. If you made plans, she would probably agree. But the emotional investment is gone. There is no excitement when you reach out. There is no curiosity in her replies. There is no spontaneous energy, no random messages, no little moments of connection she initiates just because she wanted to. The warmth is still technically present, but it has become managed, controlled, polite. She is going through the motions. And this phase, this quiet, neutral, polite withdrawal, is where the fate of the dynamic is actually decided. Not in the dramatic moments, not in arguments or confrontations or emotional conversations, right here in the ordinary day-to-day texture of how she engages with you. If you miss this phase, if you interpret the politeness as everything being okay, if you tell yourself she is just busy or distracted or going through something, you will move past the window where genuine course correction is possible. You will slide from the neutral phase into what comes after it, emotional detachment. That is when replies take hours that used to take minutes, when plans get postponed and rescheduled and eventually quietly dropped, when conversations that used to flow become one-word responses and trailing ellipses, when she says she is confused about how she feels, which usually means she has already felt her way out, she just has not said it yet. By that point, attraction did not just fade, it left. And the exit happened weeks ago in the neutral phase, while you were telling yourself everything was fine. So what is the correct response when you notice she has stopped initiating, when you recognize the neutral phase beginning, when the signal is there and you can see it clearly? The answer requires you to go against your instincts, but it is the only response that actually serves you. You pull back, not dramatically, not coldly, not as a game or a manipulation tactic, but genuinely. You match her energy instead of exceeding it. You stop being the only one driving the dynamic forward. You stop filling every silence with effort. You create space, real space, and you allow her the room to either move toward you or continue moving away. And then, this is the critical part, you redirect your energy, not into waiting, not into watching to see if she will reach out, into your own life, your own purpose, your own growth, your own goals, your friendships, the things that make you a full and interesting man, independent of any one woman's attention. Because here is what that redirection communicates, not in words, but in energy, in behavior, in the subtle shift she will feel even without a direct conversation about it. It communicates, I have a life, I have value. My world does not stop when you pull back. And that communication, that demonstrated independence and self-possession, is one of the most attractive things a man can project. Not because it is strategic, but because it is the truth of a man who is not defined by a woman's attention. If she values what you have together, she will feel your absence. She will notice the shift. And that noticing will often reignite the curiosity and investment that had been fading. Not always, but in many cases, The simple act of a man stepping back creates exactly the space she needed to realize what she had been taking for granted. And if she does not re-engage, if she continues pulling away even when you have given the situation room to breathe, then you have your answer clearly, without a dramatic conversation, without the exhausting uncertainty of not knowing where you stand. You have clarity, and clarity, even when it is not the outcome you wanted, is a gift. I want to leave you with something that confident, grounded, emotionally intelligent men understand, and that most men spend years trying to learn. You do not chase attraction, you observe it. When attraction is genuinely present between two people, it flows, it moves naturally, it expresses itself without pressure, without performance, without one person constantly working to sustain what the other is allowing to fade. Both people invest, both people initiate, both people show up, not because they feel obligated to, but because the pull is real and mutual, and they are following it willingly. When that natural flow stops, when the investment becomes one-sided, when the effort becomes performance, when you are working to maintain something that is not working back, that is important information. It is not a failure. It is not a reason to panic or try harder or explain yourself into someone's renewed interest. It is a signal. Read it. Your job is not to convince someone to remain attracted to you. Your job is not to be so available, so attentive, so perfectly calibrated in your effort that you somehow manufacture feelings that are not there. That is not attraction. That is performance, and no amount of performance sustains genuine desire. Your job is to be the man you are, fully, consistently, without apology, and to notice when the energy between you and someone else is mutual, to invest when investment is matched, to give space when space is needed, and to step back with dignity and self-respect when the signal tells you that what you are offering is not being received. Because a man who understands this, who can read the signal, respond with composure, and trust himself enough to either step back or move forward with clarity, that man does not spend months confused and emotionally depleted chasing someone who has already left. He respects himself enough to see what is real, and that self-respect, that groundedness, that refusal to minimize himself for someone else's fluctuating interest is the very quality that makes him genuinely attractive to the right person. If this video gave you clarity, if it helped you see a situation you have been confused about or understand a pattern you have been stuck in, then I want you to do one thing right now. Subscribe to Mystique Psychology. This channel is built for men who want real awareness, the kind that changes not just how you navigate relationships, but how you understand yourself, how you carry yourself, how you make decisions from a place of genuine strength rather than fear or insecurity. Every week I release content that goes this deep. Subscribe now, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment below right now. In your current situation, does this resonate? Are you experiencing this? Comment clarity below and let me know. I am Lyra. I read every single comment. Your experience matters here. And share this video with a man who needs it, someone who is chasing right now, someone who is working harder and getting less back and does not understand why. This might be the thing that finally helps him see it. Remember this, attraction does not die loudly. It dies quietly, in the small things, in the absence of what used to be there. Watch her actions, not her words. And when the signal appears, trust yourself enough to see it clearly. Because the man who sees clearly, who does not flinch from the truth, who responds with composure instead of panic, that man never loses himself in someone else's fading interest. He simply moves forward, steady, grounded, whole. My name is Lyra. This is Mystique Psychology, and I will see you in the next one.